Hello students, these days we are discussing biotic factors. As you know, the biotic factors are of two types. They can be positive interactions, there can be negative interactions. We have discussed positive interactions in the headings of commensalism and mutualism, proto-cooperation, etc. We are discussing negative interactions found in organisms in nature, and we have discussed about the exploitation in our last lecture. Today we will discuss about antibiosis and competition. So antibiosis is common in microbial world, and in this type of negative interaction, none of the partner is benefited. Means minus type of association is there. In fact, there is a complete or partial inhibition or death of one organism by another by either the production of secretion of some substance or emergence of such condition that is antagonistic to the other organism. Production of chemicals that are antagonistic to microbes are known as antibiotics, and the production of antibiotic by bacteria, actinomyces or fungi is a very well known thing in nature. Sometimes it is reported that about 50% of the species of actinomycetes and 50% of lichens, they produce such type of substances that inhibit mold or bacterial growth. Sometimes the microcystis algae, they produce algal blooms, or the other species also. The species of blue-green algae, they produce algal blooms in ponds, and especially the microcystis, some toxins are produced such as hydroxylamine, and this hydroxylamine kills the fish and other animals of the aquatic ecosystem. Some harmful substances are also reported in some algae like chlorella. When it is cultured, some substances accumulate which inhibit the growth of diatoms. Now next, in antibiosis in marine water, a very different type of phenomena is there, which is known as red tide. The population of microbes known as red tide, it causes destruction of fish and other animals. So these are examples of antibiosis. Next type of negative interaction is known as competition. We know what is competition. We know the Charles Darwin principle, the survival of the fittest. Means there is, according to him, the competition happens between different closely related living species which have similar kinds of requirement from their surrounding environment. So the organisms, they compete for the resources, same type of resources, and one who is stronger is survival of the fittest. When one species has even the slightest advantage over another, then the one with advantage will dominate in the long run, and one of the two competitors will always overcome the other, leading to either the extinction of the weaker one or its evolutionary or behavioral shift towards a different ecological niche. So competition can be it may be of two types. like intra-specific competition and inter-specific competition. Intra-specific competition is known as Scramble Competition, and means when the competition occurs between the members of the same population. Means some sort of competition occurs between species of the same members of the same population, same species, for same type of resources, that is light, water and minerals. For example, various species of algae, they produce extracellular byproducts which inhibit the growth of other algal species, usually of the same phylum. Thus, a species of algae that begins its development first in the body of water, it quickly becomes dominant. Because of this extracellular byproduct, and the growth of the other species inhibit, leading to competition exclusion. In second type of interactions, known as interspecific competition, means the competition occurs between members of different species, and again the competition is for light resources, light, water, minerals, etc. It is known as contest, and it is important density dependent factor which regulate the population. Just like we can see the competition for light, it is best seen in rainforest in the form of vertical stratification. We have discussed in environmental factor light. The competition can be for minerals in grasslands and for water in arid conditions. Sometimes this competition for interspecific competition in higher plants, it is also known as allelopathy. In allelopathy, some sort of secretion or harmful secretion is there which inhibit the growth of other small plants or microorganisms which grow in the vicinity of the big plant, and this is known as allelopathy. Sometimes during degradation of typha leaves, some chemicals are produced which are germination inhibitors, which inhibit the growth of other seedlings. Similarly, roots or grasses of species of Aristida grass, they produce certain phenolic compounds which retard the growth of nitrogen fixing organisms or the blue-green algae. Another example of allelopathy is very common in Lantana camera and Parthenium sterophorus. The roots of these plants also secrete some toxic chemicals which inhibit the growth of other plants or other microorganisms in the vicinity of their rhizosphere, or the inhibitors of you can see they are seed germination inhibitors. So the other plants, the another population cannot grow in the vicinity of these plants, and they are very good examples of allelopathy. So these are some examples which we took from the entire world or entire nature to explain the different type of negative interactions found among organisms, in which we discussed about exploitation for shelter and food, antibiosis in microbial world, and competition in higher plants. With this we complete biotic factors. Thank you.